Welcome to Signs from Above. This is Lucy B. So this story is titled Addiction and Hearing from Jesus. This story, it does hit close to home as it is about my brother. So I do come from a pretty large family, and with most families, especially large ones, I would think, we do have struggles within the family. So this story is about my brother and his addiction to alcohol and how he heard from Jesus. So, question for you. Have you ever had a family member who struggles with addiction? If you haven't, I'm extremely, extremely happy for you. But I'm telling you that it is tough if you do have a family member that does struggle with it. It's tough on the entire family because you do love this person. Just like I do with my brother. Right? He's 26 years old and addicted. Yeah. So I've felt helpless with my brother as I've tried to do everything I can think of to help him. I've even brought him into my home, gave him a job, and it didn't work out because of his addiction. It truly has a hold of him, and a hold of him tightly to where it has become everything to him. So, in fact, the sad thing is he even nearly lost his life due to his addiction. He's a walking miracle right now. In fact, one of the doctors told him that if he had 9 lives, he just lost one of them. So he's tried rehab groups and then just stopped going because, again, his addiction has been the strongest force in his life. Every time that he's tried to stay away from alcohol, he's failed. And when he's tried to stay away from it, it really, truly hasn't been that long. It even took him a long time to even realize and admit that he has an addiction. For the longest time, he would say, oh no, I could quit whatever I want. I could quit whatever I want. But we knew he couldn't. But it took a long time for him to even admit that he has a problem, which I think is a huge step in itself when you can actually say, yeah, I have a problem. He's felt like a failure because it does have a hold on him. And when we get together as a family, there's a lot of times that he doesn't even show up because he just feels like a failure, and it breaks my heart. We love him, and it's in his own mind, right? We're going to love on him regardless, but it's in his own mind. So me personally, I haven't really struggled with addiction at all. I don't drink, but I do come from a father that is an alcoholic and family members that are alcoholics, and I guess in a way you can say that I've learned to stay away from that because I know that can be a family history of it. So I've personally just stayed away from alcohol. I don't know, you might call me that goody-goody, that's fine, but I've never smoked a cigarette, I've never done drugs, I've never done any of that, I've never drank a beer in my life. So for me, that's hard to understand the whole addiction part of it, and when you try to understand it, the closest thing that I can get to it is caffeine. I probably do have a little bit of a caffeine problem right now. And I should give it up, but it hasn't controlled my life. Might just get a headache if I don't have it. That's when I probably do need to give it up, right? But as far as alcohol addiction or something that completely alters your personality or drug addiction, I've never had that, so I don't really understand it. But watching him, he's gone through depression because this addiction has truly just ate him up. Now, on the other side of this, it's like we see we see the addiction and think, yeah, again, that if their life would be so much easier if they would just give it up. But at the same time, we don't really necessarily understand how hard it is on their end. We're not in their shoes. We don't understand. For us, it's kind of like, just give it up, dude. Your life will be so much better if you do. Just give it up. But we don't understand how hard it is if we're not in their shoes. And maybe some of you have gone through your addiction and have gotten through it, or maybe you are still struggling with it. And that's where us as like humans can't necessarily understand exactly how hard it is. But anyway, I digressed. So the rest of the family, we didn't give up on him, but we were out of options on what to do. And so we truly just put it in God's hands. So we've continually just prayed for him. We knew God has him in his hand because he truly is a good, kind-hearted person. He is not evil, but goodness. And you don't feel scared when you're around him. You do just, regardless, you do just feel kind of safe. And he's almost kind of like this little puppy and just a sweet little thing. And that's how I see him. And we all know, our family knew that because of his heart, like there's no way that God could, and he's not going to give up on anybody, but it's that evilness that just was not there, that he does have this sweet heart that he has. Don't know if you've ever been around a pure evil person. Obviously, you can go back to some of mine and hear some of these evil people that I've been around, but he's just not that. But, however, I don't really feel like he knew Jesus completely. I did get him a Bible to help learn about Jesus. And I know he's read a little bit, but when you walk into his home, I haven't been in there for a little while. He's kind of just separated himself a little bit with the family. But when I had walked into his home before, he had like Hindu gods and pictures of Hindu gods up in his house. And I didn't really care for that all that much, being a Christian. But nevertheless, I didn't say anything because right now it's kind of like one step at a time. And the addiction was just the piece that I wanted him to get over first, right? Like it was the piece that was going to make things better if he could be in right, sound mind to be able to listen to what else you can help him with. So anyway, going back to him, last week he had a dream, and not just a dream, but one that seemed so real to him that he couldn't get it out of his mind. And his dream was about Jesus. So it's a little weird in a way. But a lot of times when I've had dreams where I know that it's been spoken to, they have been a little bit different. And I don't know why. There's a lot of things that makes you wonder, does he just put it in a story? Does he put it somewhere where you could understand where he's at? So what happened was that my brother was at a camp. And it was as if Jesus was the camp counselor. Again, I don't know the correlation between that, but, maybe Jesus is in charge, but there to really be kind of a counselor. I guess that's truly what he is as well, there to help us and be our counselor in life. So maybe that's the correlation there. So anyway, he was at a camp. Jesus was there. He was the camp counselor. And my brother said that Jesus was just extremely, extremely kind to him. He was walking and talking with Jesus, and Jesus was just lovingly showing how loved he is and being there for him. he talked to him also about quitting his drinking, his alcohol problem, to let it go, and just told them that he needed to let it go. But my brother couldn't understand why he was being so kind at the same time, that it just kind of blew his mind. Well, then it ended up that Jesus left. So while he was gone, my brother ended up finding these kind of bad guys, and they just started drinking in his dream. And these people were just bad. They were just bad. They ended up trashing the entire camp, and it was completely destroyed. Even the water source that was there, that they just completely destroyed the water, just everything. Well, Jesus came back, and when he came back, he told them that the world is about to end. And then a bunch of the bugs came out, and they started killing these evil people. So my brother knew in his heart that those people were going to hell, and he truly did not want to go with them. So he went to Jesus. And again, Jesus was just so kind to him and good to him. And my brother had a hard time understanding that, because he felt like what he just did was really bad. And how could Jesus truly just still love him after what he just did? But he was so kind to him. So Jesus had told him that he needed to quit alcohol in his life, and his life would completely change in 1 year. He told him not to worry about the nicotine now, but just to quit the alcohol. And then he woke up, and he was shaken, but he felt loved, and he just knew that this dream was truly from Jesus. So it was like 1 year, your life will change if you just quit your alcohol. He wasn't even focused on the nicotine at that time. Jesus wasn't even focused on that. He was like, one step at a time, buddy. Here, quit the alcohol, and your life is going to change in 1 year. So just, like I said, there's just so many questions about like this dream, so many things. It's like 1 year and your life will change. And the crazy thing is, I couldn't have gave him a 1 year. I knew his life would change if he would just quit. But he hasn't. But this dream and hearing from Jesus has really struck him. Of course, here's his sibling and mom all telling him that his life would be better, but he doesn't listen to that. But this dream is something that's really making him think and really question, and it's just really stuck with him, which I think is amazing how sometimes Jesus can reveal himself to us, right? Like he loves us so much. But, and even then beyond that, it's kind of like Jesus talked about the world is about to end. He completely said that the world is about to end. And the evil people, the people that have no regard for Jesus, no regard, just pure evil, were being destroyed. Were on their way to hell. That had no, the way they put it was they just had no concern for Jesus. They had no concern for heaven. They were more into their own desires and their own ways and didn't care about anybody. So even talking a little further with my brother, he said, part of what he's trying to figure out is his purpose in life and what that is, and doesn't understand that. And isn't that something that we all think about? I know that there's times I'm always questioning, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? But he came back and said, but I do believe that my purpose is to help other people. And that kind of shows you his heart, is that he truly just cares about other people and he wants to help other people. But I think he knows that he needs Jesus to do this now. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just, it's one of those things where it really does feel like Jesus, and you know that he hears your prayers. But that really felt like he's not given up. He's there. He's taking care of him. And it may take time. But he's coming to him in his dream, and he wants him to say, before this world does come to an end. It's just crazy. And then, throughout this whole story, I've been thinking of different verses, and there's so many different verses you could go off. It's, you trust the Lord your God and he'll direct your paths. And another one that when I think of him, I think of James 4:7, which says, submit yourself then to God, resist the devil and he will flee from you. And I think that that's how we all need to be. Get out of this world, just completely submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil, resist the evil things of this world, and he's going to flee from you. And he will flee. So that is my story for today. I thank you so much for taking the time for listening. Again, this one kind of hit a little close to home for me. This boy's pretty special to me, and hearing things how Jesus doesn't give up is just kind of consumed me this week. And so I think the rest of the world needs to hear what's happening, right? So thank you so much again for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye.